What up, YouTube? It's your boy Grizz. So I had this video recorded already, but I accidentally deleted the last version of it. So I'm just gonna run through it. Hopefully it doesn't happen again. But it's the Geargia combo video I talked about. I'm gonna show you guys a couple combos, run through some explanations, and it's savage though. It is savagery at its finest. Geargia was really popular because of this card, and now that it's back at 3, Geargia has a serious chance to be with the meta. A lot of people say that it won't, be fast enough to keep up with like Perform Agent Pals who go ham. Let's not kid ourselves and say Performing Pals won't go ham, but there's a lot of ways to counteract that deck, especially because Geargia is a deck that likes to go first rather than second because all the OTKs come after a setup. Dinka Seka is probably the scariest card, and there's some things in the sideboard that'll really deal with things like Dinko. So we're all good with that. So we're gonna show you a couple. I'm gonna show you my first combo. I may actually have to fit this in the combos into separate videos because my first video was 11 minutes long for the first combo. So I'm going to get into it and the explanation to what's going on. Okay, so I got a test hand here, which is these are the 2 important combo cards, and these are just cards you're going to open with. You want to optimally go first most of the time because going second really doesn't benefit this deck as much as other decks do. So unlike most decks that want to go second, like Cosmos and stuff like that, sure, you're going to give your opponent another card, but remember that you play a bunch of stun cards in your deck. A bunch of stun cards. So you're not really afraid of them OTKing you, because unless you somehow open up all monsters, I think you only play like 17, 18 monsters. At least in my variant, I think I played like 19 monsters, which is the optimal way for me to play it. But, alright, so this is your opening hand. Alright? We don't really care about these cards. Let's just, for the sake of argument, say that they're back row, 2 back row and a monster. Doesn't really matter. So the first thing you're gonna do, this is the highlight. You want to summon this guy. In my variant, I play 3, and the reason is because of the strength of this 2-card combo. Well, it starts off as a 2-card combo and turns into a billion. So for consistency purpose, I think 3 is necessary. You're gonna go first. You're gonna summon, your opponent may, max C or something. They don't know what you're going to do, which is fine. Give them the 1 card. They'll open up with 7 cards. Again, you're playing stunned cards. So it's not like there's Harpy's Feather Duster or Heavy Storm in the format to stun you. And unlike the Teller Knight, because this deck has crazy OTK capabilities, so it's not just stun and wait to loop you. It's, I'm going to set up and then I'm going to kill you. So, these are some badass robots. So the first thing you're going to do is Arsenal. As long as there's not a Veiler, this goes through. You're going to send the Arsenal. Tribute it off. I'm going to zoom out because I actually need the space to show you, because your graveyard is also important in this deck. You're going to go get the Geargia. The Geargia armor. You're going to use armor's effect to set itself. You're going to set it. Now, ideally what you want is your opponent to be an idiot, not know what these cards do, and attack, and you can get the plus from armor too. But most people are going to probably leave armor to try to hit it with a breakthrough skill or hit it with something crazy. So your opponents may not have anything. Let's say, Cosmos may Dark Destroyer it, All right, you still got back row, so I think you'll still be pretty decent. You're in a pretty decent position. Really doesn't matter whether this card resolves or not. If it resolves, there's a whole nother, combo that goes into it. But it doesn't matter because of what's about to happen. All right. So actually, I'm going to show you what happens when it does resolve, because the combo just gets longer. But so let's say they don't attack it. They just try to set up. Because Teller Knights are going to do that. They're not going to attack. They're going to look for the Alpha Nova and all that stuff. So you're going to go at their end phase as long as they didn't MST or anything. Again, you have multiple back row probably. So the Geargia is going to happen. When Geargia happens, you want to make sure you go for MK3, which sucked before this card went back to 3, and Geargano. Why not MK2? Because MK2 is a vital part of the deck synergy, actually. So you want to make sure you do this. So you're going to do this, and you're going to trigger MK3's effect. MK3's effect is going to special summon the Geargano. Since you did this Geargia during the end phase, it bypasses his effect that says that you can't special summon anything but Geargia monsters for the rest of the turn. So it's all good. So you're going to start your turn. Remember that, the number of cards in your hand may vary based on whether you have monsters, spells, or traps. So, sure, we'll flip over just to show you that I play bunches of traps. I did shuffle this afterwards, but it really doesn't matter that way. So it's all about the monsters. It's all about the monsters. What you want to do is flip the armor. Again, most people don't want it to resolve. So let's say they break through skill, which is perfectly fine. You have two monsters that are no longer really useful by themselves. Sorry if the camera's a little bit shaky. I don't have a tripod or anything like that right now. So you're going to want to go into... You want to use the Arsenal, who his effect is negated, so he's no use to you. And the MK3, who has done his thing and won't be useful to you until later. So you're going to want to overlay. Ideally into Geargia next. Alright? Now, the way you detach is also important after using the MK3. You want the MK3 to actually remain under the Geargia X. And the reason is because Geargia X effect applies when he leaves the field. So Castelling, anything like that, you gain cool effects. So you're going to want to detach. And, no mistakes or anything like that. You search. You're going to add this guy. Alright? You're going to want to... This is the double Geargia X play, so... You're going to want to special summon this guy. And then what you're going to want to do is actually tribute this, because this is important for the next step. You're going to want to tribute him. And you're going to want to bring back that Arsenal. This guy, see? He comes back as a pretty vital part of the combo. So putting him in the graveyard with the Geargia gear leads to all of this. Remember that these cards are in your hand or on board. You hadn't done anything outside of use effects at this point. Max C will stop you, but again, you're playing a stun deck that OTKs, so it's perfectly fine. It has all the cool benefits of Geargia's of Stellar Knights without all the counter traps, but you can combo an OTK. So, people are going to side in Max C's. You're going to also want to remove, Chimera Tech's the thing right now, so you're also going to want to get these off the field. And there's a couple of cards I'm going to let you guys know about that you could play in another combo video, just to ensure that your opponent doesn't, plus off of you going ham and maybe missing. So you're going to want to bring back that Arsenal. Again, you see, the Arsenal is a pretty big deal. So you're going to want to overlay for a Geargia X. This is only the two Geargia X combos. So there you go. Again, they didn't stop the first one, so the second one is fine. You're going to detach, and you're going to add this, which is perfectly fine. Or you're going to want to add this, because you never know. You might already have another Arsenal in hand. So let's say you want to do that. Again, if this resolves and you get you got the cool add, then you would already have another one. But these things draw pretty well, so you'll generally end up with one. If nothing else, you can always put this armor back down. So let's say the breakthrough skill happened. You're gonna have your armor face up. So you're thinking, oh man, why not just add the Arsenal, use a GGX? Well, you can also do that, because this is the triple Geargia X play. You're gonna want to do it this way. If they break through this, then you have to go and get this with the second GGX. If they don't break through this, you go get this and you can OTK. So breakthrough skill happened, you can't do anything there. You're going to overlay special summon because you control the armor. You're going to overlay for the third Geargia X, which is really cool. I know mine are ugly. I got two supers and a secret. So then you're gonna detach the Arsenal. Doesn't really matter about the Geargia armor. Remember, there's so much low down stuff you can do with this deck. And MK3 being under him makes it where Raigeki literally establishes you a board where you can sit on things that don't matter really. So, okay. You're going to want to do that. Make the third Geargia X. You're going to add this. You're going to normal summon. You have 3 monsters. You're thinking, what can you do? Remember that Geargano from earlier. You're going to special summon it back. You're going to overlay for either Alucard. You can actually make Acid Golem if there's a clear board and you got a Raigeki or a Dark Hole among these. You can actually make Acid Golem and just swing out. Or you can make Solar Silver Mountain, who is absolutely nuts with stunning back row and killing monsters. If he kills a monster, if you guys don't know what this thing does, you kill a monster with him. He can stun a back row by detaching a material, but if he kills a monster, you can special summon an earth monster from your graveyard and face up defense position. But you're going to make the Alucard. So then all a card can blow up anything else that they have, like a set monster or something that you don't care about. Now look at this damage on board. Remember, look at how many cards you'll have in hand if you don't play anything but just the Gear in the arsenal first turn. You'll have 4 cards in hand. You got all of this 4 cards in hand, provided you set 0 back row minus the Gear. Okay, so take a look at this, fellas. It's gonna be 2,000, 4,000, 6,000. So it's gonna be 69, everybody's favorite number. Whoop whoop. 69 and 18. How much damage is that, people? No answer? No answer? The answer is 8,700 points of damage. So you can do 87 points of damage with just this. 2 cards starts this. Turn 2, you can do 8,700